So I feel like saying, welcome to the world of GMO. This has been a hot topic. Genetically modified organisms, a lot of just average people out there like me. What we start seeing, Dr. Piper, is we start seeing in a restaurant or an industry that they're advertising that they're non-GMO.
Mm-hmm.
Or, Panera Bread is now non-GMO,
Mm-hmm.
or Chipotle is now non-GMO. And first of all, what is GMO in a layman's term, and why are we advertising against it? What seems to be the hot topic?
Well, GMO is genetically modified organisms, and that means that certain chemical companies, certain scientists have been able to formulate seeds that will help grow faster, okay, but it won't pretty much be pesticide free, so that the farmers can plant it and almost walk away from it and instant gratification. And the faster that we can plant these seeds, the faster the growth of the fruits. Let's say with vegetables they grow much faster, and then we're able to harvest in the crops. We have so many people on this planet that get more and more and more, so there's more and more countries doing this GMO. Though what's the topic as non-GMO, there's some schools of thought, and I'm part of that school of thought, that there isn't any long-term experiment of what GMO products do. We're going to talk corn, soy, some potatoes, and I think carrots, but let's say soy and corn right now. And so what's the long-term effect with the human body of eating that's already been genetically modified? So the structure of the seed of the plant has been changed, has been altered, okay, by mankind. And they grow faster, and we go and we eat them, and then we don't know, okay, 10 years, 15, 20 years, is something going to happen? We don't know. So that's the scary part. What makes it popular is there's a lot of people out there, and I have a feeling you're one of them, that's going to feel, wait a second, no long-term study, they're genetically changing this around, I want non-GMO.
Correct.
So what happens is a scare starts in restaurants and saying, okay, I'm going to be honest with you with this, we're going to bring people in, more and more people, if we say we're non-GMO. Okay.
Absolutely.
And we could even talk about gluten-free if you want the next episode, because I wrote a book on gluten-free, and restaurants are saying we now have gluten-free products. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have mixed feelings with that. So we go to so-and-so restaurant and say, oh, non-GMO. Okay, I feel more comfortable now. I can have my soy or I can have my corn. Now, does this create a problem with some people that may be allergic to soy, whether it's GMO or non-GMO? It's going to be. It's going to be.
Yeah.
We're getting half the education, and that's another part of my concern. Okay. Would I eat corn at a restaurant? I wouldn't. Whether it's GMO or non-GMO, I wouldn't. Okay. Number one, that corn, it's too much sugar for me. I learned as a kid, we go back to that other thing about the sugar, where I'd have 2 or 3 corns in a cup when I was a kid, because I loved it. The sweetness, I love that sugar.
So sweet.
So I stay away from corn. I don't know if that answers your question or not. Why
Absolutely. I mean, it helps me understand. I think just everybody in general, we're getting as the family in America is just going to a restaurant or going to the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's gluten-free aisles. There's, blatant marketing, non-GMO.
Sure.
And so, what's happening is this generation of new families are divided, because there are some positive remarks when you Google about non-GMO. There's comments and there's studies saying, short term there's no problems. Then there's studies and there's people or activists saying this is what's happening. What I do know, in the only part of the non-GMO world or GMO world that bothers me, is how the seeds are literally programmed from the beginning to be pesticide free, so they can put as many pesticides as they want and it's not going to kill the crop. I mean, to be honest, that just scares me, because I don't want my children to have anything to do with the product that's full of pesticides, because it won't harm it. Does that make my children pesticide free? No.
Oh.
I just can only imagine it's gonna do harm. So again, from the average consumer out there, we're being bombarded with the marketing. I think it was great how you explained it, how we just need to understand, we don't know the answer. That's really it. We don't know the answer, the long-term effect of you know, something that's been genetically modified. So my opinion has been, I stay non-GMO. I mean,
Right, me too.
everything I do is non-GMO. I've actually entered into gluten-free, you know, thanks to your book. When I first read your book about, you know, the gluten-free world and how important it was, I actually have one of my children that has had gluten allergies, and at a very young age, 2.5, 3 years old, and he was constantly sniffling and sneezing. I thought, you know, is this allergies? Is this that? You know, you don't know. My sister, who's a nurse, just in a, you know, weekend conversation, cut out the gluten because it happened to her son, my nephew, and it does help. So that's a whole nother conversation, but again, it goes back to the education. People understand what is genetically modified organisms, and I think your recommendation, without you even saying it, is just to stay away from the GMOs, just to be safe, and I would agree with that.
Now, I'd like to carry this a little bit further. What I would like to see is where restaurants have non-GMO, because they're going to bring people in and people are more comfortable. What if they said, we have organically grown vegetables? Okay. And as far as I know, there may be some, but as far as I know, rarely is there an organic farmer going to be buying genetically modified organism
Yeah.
seeds. Okay. So if I'm going to my local health food store or co-op or fresh market and I'm buying organically grown vegetables, I'm reassured that they're pesticide free and they're going to be non-GMO.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see restaurants do.
I think we're going to have, and I'd love to see restaurants do that, and we can also go in the back of the restaurant, and they should all have a big greenhouse with all the vegetables they've grown,
There you
because
go.
that turns into an experience. Might be a good business we could start one day.
Well, there's a restaurant in Tampa that does that, I know that.
I've actually heard there's a couple I've heard that are starting that type of marketing
Right.
as well.
Right.
But anyway, appreciate your time in this conversation.
Thank you.
It's been good.